Hello the internet and welcome back to my channel. Today on the bench we have two hard drives. Now we encountered these hard drives on some of my previous videos. This one is from the IBM PS2 video and this one is from the IBM XD videos. Both these hard drives were found as non-working and they both ended up making mechanical noise, so that was enough for me to say that the hard drives were gone. Now, these hard drives have been wandering around my shop for months and I don't really know what to do with them, besides keeping them in a box for spare parts. Now, before they end up in a spare part box, I'd like to disassemble them and take a look. I'm not expecting to repair them, but I'm curious to see with my eyes what happened that was making that noise. So let's not digress anymore and let's take a look at the first hard drive, which is going to be the IBM one. This video is sponsored by PCBWay, more of that in a minute. Now, when you open a hard drive, the drive is more or less gone because dust is going in, and that's enough to crash the heads, to get in between the heads and the platters, and that will damage the platters and the heads permanently. That being said, I had this project in mind and I wanted to make a filtering box using a HEPA filter and a fan, and the idea was that if I can get this device to blow filtered air over the drive I'm working on, maybe there's less chances to damage the drive in the unlikely case that I can manage to revive the drive itself. Now, the project unfortunately didn't work. I ended up with this little box here, there's a HEPA filter here, and there's a fan attached onto the box, but none of my fans are powerful enough to win the air resistance that this filter is introducing, so I guess I need either a bigger fan or a bigger filter. I'd like to say a bigger filter because I have some pretty powerful fans that people wouldn't normally have, and those are not powerful enough. Take a look at that. So no, not even that fan is powerful enough, and it just spins and the airflow out of the box is negligible. So that's it, I decided I will just open them up. They're gone anyways, and the chances of me fixing them are negligible as well. So with that being said, let's start with this IBM. Now, if you remember the video, this IBM was kind of failing to initialize. And what I've done at some point behind the PCB, I managed to manually spin the stepper motors so that the head would move somewhere, and the head was doing the whole thing every time. It was just moving in one direction for a few clicks and then it would stop, and eventually would just reach the end of the range of the movement and it wouldn't do anything at that point. While I managed to move the heads on the other side of the platter, at some point I could hear this grinding noise. Maybe it was me moving the head, maybe it was just the head that crashed, I don't know. But the thing is, the moment you hear this grinding noise from a hard drive, the hard drive is gone. So let's take a look at what happened inside. As you can see, it looks like the heads have been scratching the platters. That's not normal. You shouldn't have those concentric lines on the platter itself, and I guess that's the noise I was hearing. But the head itself, at least on this platter, looks okay. I don't see any issues with that one. Now, if I try and move the arm by myself, I can see that the arm is, the head is basically on, let's call it track 0, which is where I left the hard drive last time it was powered on. One hypothesis is that the head was looking for track 0 and somehow it couldn't read it, maybe because the head itself is damaged or there's something that it doesn't read, and the motor was just moving There was nothing coming back from the platters, and after a few seconds the electronics would just say, well, nothing is coming back from the head at all, so I'm giving up. Here you can see the other platter with the other two heads. It's a bit dark in there, see if I can get light. And here you can see the wiring of the 4 heads. The 4 cables and 4 wires going to the coils of the heads themselves. This little spindle here, that's the stepper motor, which I was able to access on the other side, so there is no reduction or gear or anything. This is actually spinning and the heads are moving based on the stepper motor itself. So yeah, the movement is completely free, the heads are completely free to move, but somehow the drive was not initializing. The platter is definitely damaged, so there was definitely some surface damage on it. But it's difficult to see, but the heads look like all there and all in good shape. I don't see anything detached. So I'm not sure what's wrong with this drive besides some damage on the surface. I would have expected the drive to initialize and then fail any format or anything, but this was not even initializing. So I'm wondering whether this is a combination of a mechanical failure plus an electronic failure of the board. I really don't know, but clearly you're not supposed to see these marks on the platter. I think, again, if you know anything better or any more than this, just do let me know down below in the comment section. Now, it's not easy to show on camera, but this area of the platters, they look like contaminated or some kind of environmental contamination, or maybe the surface have degraded with time. This is not just the platter damage. It sounds more like something happening with the coating. Again, I do not know. If you know any better, just let me know down below in the comment section. The platen underneath doesn't seem as damaged as the top one. As you can see, the top one has those scratches. The bottom one doesn't seem to have them. So maybe the issue is just here with this head. And some contaminant maybe went on the drive. Don't know exactly what happened. The platter was scratched, and that's enough for the platter, for the hard drive not to initialize. Again, I have no idea. I have no experience with this. If you know more, comment down below. Now, as you might imagine, I want to see this drive running before I disassemble it any further. And so I've got my PS2 out with the power supply, and I'm gonna plug the hard drive on the motherboard, and we'll see what happens when it spins. Okay, I'm ready to power up. I'll just put some protection in case something flies off the discs, whatever, I have no idea. But this discs, I don't know what's the speed of these platters, but it's pretty high. So, ready to power up in 3, 2, 1, go. You can see, as we noticed during the video, that the head is moving a fixed amount every try. So you move towards the center a bit, and then you should try again. There it is. You can hear the grinding noise, and then it gives up. And it stops in there. And if I power it off, and when I power on again, the head will move again towards the center a little bit until it eventually reaches the center, and then it stops there. It keeps trying. I can see there's some the motor is being energized, but it doesn't go any further. Using my multimeter in resistance mode, I checked that each pair of wires going to the heads would return something meaningful, and they did. I read 3.4 or 6.3 ohm, depending on where I was checking. I assume that's the reading and writing coils? Now, this plastic bracket has Toshiba IC in it, TA8503F. Then it connects to this flexible ribbon cable which is going to the heads. Now, what I've noticed is that the plastic has degraded. It's pretty difficult to see, but you will see if I do this. There's some white powder on the plastic itself. And you will notice that there is some white powder around this plastic bracket. And also there is white powder inside the drive itself on the lid. So I'm not sure whether that could be our problem. This plastic debris have basically got airborne. They deposited on the top platter, which is the one exposed to this debris, and they eventually crashed the head on the platter itself. Well, I guess this is something that can happen after 40 years. These drives were never designed to last 40 years, so probably, this kind of degradation was probably not even considered. Now, I don't think I want to disassemble this drive any further. It's the only one I have. I'm still kind of attached to it, even though it doesn't work. What I don't think I'm seeing is any sort of either optical or mechanical track zero sensor. So maybe in order for this drive to work, the heads need to be able to read something. And if nothing is being read by the heads, then the heads don't know where to go, and the electronic refuses to continue. Maybe that is the case. So I guess that's it with the IBM drive. Not too much to see inside, nothing horribly wrong, but obviously enough to prevent the drive from working. I wish there was a project online to manufacture a PCB that fixes hard drives, but unfortunately I'm not aware of them. For any other PCB needs, PCBWay is what I recommend. If you follow my channel, you know that I've been using PCBWay for my projects in the past. This is my XT IDE card, this is the PS2 floppy adapter, and this is the ROM replacement for an Apple II. This is a brand new project which I haven't shown on video yet, so watch the space. Having a PCB manufactured with PCBWay, it's incredibly simple. You just need a Gerber file of your project, upload it on PCBWay.com. The system is more or less automatic, just need to choose the postal service and the PCBs will be delivered at your place. I've always been happy with the manufacturing quality of the PCBs I've received from PCBWay. I wouldn't recommend them otherwise. And don't forget that PCBWay also offer 3D printing and metal sheet fabrication, something I'm planning to use in the future. To find out more, go on PCBWay.com, the link is also down below in the description. Thank you very much PCBWay for sponsoring this channel, your help is invaluable and it makes these videos possible. But now, let's go back to the hard drives. So I would say, let's move to the HardCard 20. That was making a ticking noise while it was rotating, particularly when it was spinning up and down, so I'm expecting to see some kind of major damage on the platter itself. Possibly the head has got detached and it's got stuck on the platter itself. Now, to open the hard card, I have to remove this plastic, and the plastic is attached with double-side tape. It's going to be a massive royal pain in the neck to remove it, so bear with me a few minutes. I'll get my heat gun and try and remove it in the easiest possible way. Okay, here we are. It wasn't too bad with a proper heat gun and a painter knife. Now, obviously this one is protected by this plastic platter, so I'll have to disassemble a bit more. Right off the bat, there's one thing I can notice on this drive. It's a known issue with these drives. There is like a resting pin which when it was manufactured it had some rubber around it, and this rubber over time is just degrades into goo. And I think we are talking about that rubber there, because I see, I don't know if I can show you, but it looks like it's melted, but it's not. It's just became goo and then it stuck everywhere. And that probably prevents the heads from moving, I guess, or at least from moving properly. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, that's like custard, look. Oh wow. Disgusting. It is just, I don't think it's preventing anything. It's so fluid. Oh wow, look at this. I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting some gooey material, but this is, wow, look at that. It's like a paste. Impressive. This is gonna end up everywhere. So this is part of the platter. I thought it was just a protection. Well, it is obviously. Okay, I didn't realize this plastic thing was actually spinning with the platter itself. And if I'm not mistaken, I only see one platter in this hard drive, not two. Now here is the platter, and it's not in too bad shape, but still there is some damage on it, unfortunately. You can see here on the left hand side, I don't know what that is. It doesn't look like a scratch. It looks more like a scuff mark or something like that. And here on the right hand side, that's probably the ticking noise that we were hearing when the drive was spinning up and down. That being said, the head doesn't look to be stuck on the platter, but something got stuck on the platter, because obviously that shouldn't be there. Now I'm not sure whether the arm here is supposed to move freely, but it's not. I'm not sure whether it's a magnet opposing resistance, it's supposed to be like that, but it kind of gets stuck in here. But the gooey stuff is definitely not stopping the arm from moving. It's actually, again, it's so soft that the arm is still moving even with the gooey stuff. You can see that it has no problems in moving away from that. That's like a stopping pin, and the rubber was there to prevent noise, I guess. I meant this in the video, and I think I might have missed a potential issue with that degraded rubber stop. With no stop, the heads might be allowed to travel too far and maybe hit the hub of the platter, which might damage them. It's only a hypothesis, but I wanted to mention it here. Okay. This plastic arm here is latching into the arm itself. This is probably moved by wind. So when this moves in this direction, then the head is free to move. And yeah, I don't feel resistance. I do feel like some magnetic friction. But yeah, this is totally fine. The other head also seems to be totally fine in its place. Whether there is further damage on the bottom platter, I don't know. Chances are there is. It's probably similar damage as the top one. Now let's take a look at the head movement mechanism, because I find this pretty fascinating. You can see here there is a little flag. It's I think this is glass. Yes, I think this is glass, and it's difficult to see, but this is not transparent glass. It has some kind of like a printed pattern on it. There it is. You can see that here. I think they're like lines, diagonal lines or something like that. And here on the right hand side, there is an LED. And what I see here is the LED is shining some light, whether it's visible light or maybe infrared, and it's reflecting here, and behind this little plastic part here, I think there is a mirror. There will be a mirror. The mirror is reflecting the light downwards across this textured glass into what looks like a sensor. You can see that bottom part there. In my opinion, that is a sensor, like a whatever kind of sensor, I don't know, photo sensor or something like that, and that is sensing the movement of the head itself. So it's the feedback for the actual voice coil so that the head can be precisely positioned on the hard drive. That is pretty impressive, because I cannot remember when this drive is from, but it's pretty old. And here you can see the mirror I was talking about. It's just a 45 degrees mirror attached to that plastic part. Now, as with the IBM, I'd like to see this spinning, but number one, it's going to be a bit tricky to attach to a motherboard. I can do my best. The other thing is, without this top part, the motor is actually not making any friction on the platter. You can't see it here, but I'm spinning this center part, which I guess is the motor itself, but the platter is not spinning. And in order to make that spin, I need to attach this one, which is a shim, and with the screw, we'll join together the spindle to the platter themselves. It's just not just the screw. I need this platter back in place. But if I put this one in, I won't be able to see the drive anymore, even though I suspect that if I remove this plastic thing, then this plastic arm won't be able to move, because there won't be any wind generated anymore. I think it creates a little bit of a wind tunnel, if you want to call it that way. That moves away and the head is able to move. But the drive is busted. I really would like to see this spin, so I think I'm going to remove this plastic part here, but I will reattach the hub on the center, on the motor itself. So hopefully we can see this spinning. Okay, I managed to remove the plastic part, so I have just the hub. So let's reattach this, and then I'll find a way to somehow attach it to a motherboard and hopefully we can see it spinning. Now, I was thinking of using this motherboard, just put the motherboard vertically like this, and so we could see the thing spinning. But the metal frame of the card has a precise cutout for an 8-bit slot, and I haven't got a motherboard with an 8-bit slot at the edge of the board like this. So my only solution I can think about is to remove the metal frame and just attach the card on this motherboard, which is going to be pretty in a precarious state, but again, it's just a quick test. Alright, so that's my setup. It's actually pretty stable because the card itself is like a stand for the motherboard. I have reconnected the hard drive here, and I guess I'm ready to power up and, well, we'll see what happens. Finger crossed, I have a bad feeling about that. But let's power up in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, okay, it doesn't even spin? Why? Well, I can only assume that this is only working on an IBM XD. Not sure, I know that those are ISO slots and I use my XD IDE in it, but maybe those ISO slots have some features that this is looking for. I don't know, but it doesn't seem to be working. Let's try this again. 3, 2, 1, go. Nope. Now that being said, you can't see it, but I'm trying to post the motherboard without the HardCard connected, and the board doesn't do anything, so maybe I should make sure that the motherboard is actually working before I test it with this HardCard. Well, it's taken me a little while to realize in the end that 12 volts was missing, just, I don't know, just bad contact at the power supply connector. Thankfully, I tried the diagnostic postcard, and at some point I realized there was some extra LED switched off, which I wasn't expecting. And yes, without 12 volts, nothing works. Video cards, nothing seems to be working. I guess not even the hard drive. That was probably why it wasn't spinning. Anyways, I've got the motherboard posting, it gets on the BIOS screen, so that's up and running. Let's try this again. Power up in 3, 2, 1, go. Aha. As I suspected, this white plastic arm hasn't moved, but let me try and move that away. Hopefully that will signal something that the platter has spun up. Let's try this again. Nope, now it's not spinning anymore. Why not? Okay, let's try again. Nope. Well, I feel the noise is coming from those areas on the platter. Let me try and move the head away. And we'll try again and see what happens now. 3, 2, 1, go. Well, I'm not sure what happens here. The head moves fine, the gooey stuff is making a mess, but that's definitely not stopping the head from moving. The platter is damaged, but definitely not in this area here. What I think could have happened is the damage on the platter has caused damage under the head. Now the head is unable to read, and that's what the drive is trying to do. It's trying to read something, it's trying to get something back from the head. Like the other hard drive, it doesn't get anything, and it keeps trying, keeps trying, keeps trying. And now the head is stuck. It keeps pushing towards the edge of the platter. I can feel that. What's the difference between the previous test? I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. It kind of feels as the position feedback to the head is not working, or is kind of working erratically somehow. Actually, looking at the footage, it seems that the heads have now traveled too much towards the edge of the platter. Parts of the heads is now outside of the platter. I think this is a consequence of the missing rubber stop. The electronics probably relies on that stop to get to the edge of the platter, but with that missing, the heads are now allowed to move too far, likely causing some damage. To me, this is either a logic issue or again the head has failed and it's returning rubbish and the logic doesn't know how to deal with that. But as you can see, the behavior of the drive has changed over the past few tests for no reason. It's always the same thing and just powering on and off. Out of curiosity, I cleaned the little glass flag and also the infrared sensor, but that didn't change anything. However, covering the LED with a cotton bud definitely caused a reaction from the moving heads, so there is some feedback there for sure. I also went ahead and cleaned those marks on the platter with isopropyl. Obviously it's a big no-no for a working drive, but this is not working anyways. It didn't change anything, besides adding some more grinding noise to it. Well, I guess this is it. I mean, there's nothing obviously wrong. There's definitely some little damage on the platter. Whether this is an electronic problem or a mechanical problem, I'm not entirely sure about that. If it wasn't for the fact that apparently these drives, they all fail. So I'm assuming it's more a mechanical failure than an electronic one. What puzzles me a bit is that every time I'm powering up, there's a different behavior depending where the head is starting moving. That doesn't make sense to me. Unless the head is required to read something from the platter, it doesn't read anything, the electronics then says, well, I don't know, try here, try there. It doesn't make sense. I would expect every time you power up to see the same exact behavior every time. But I don't see that, and that's a bit puzzling. If you know more about this, just leave a comment down below because I would be really curious to know what's happening here, which is kind of a similar issue we were seeing on the other one, but at least on the IBM the behavior was exactly the same every single time. Anyhow, well, I guess this is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed these kind of partial teardowns. I don't see the point in disassembling everything. We know there's some damage on the platter. We can see what happens. There's nothing that we can do. The gooey stuff is not what is preventing the head from moving, and I guess we will never know. One day, if I end up with another HardCard 20, I can try and swap the electronics between the two, and especially if I have a good hard drive, I can definitely test this electronic with the other hard drive and vice versa. But meanwhile, I have this thing, it doesn't work, and it's completely useless, and it's a big and expensive, back in the day, doorstop. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, as usual, I'd appreciate a thumb up down below. Also, feel free to leave a comment. I try to read and reply to them all if I can, and those are always appreciated. For now, I wish you a great day. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon here on this channel for my next videos. Thank you very much and goodbye. Bye-bye.